Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be having a look at how you can automate your note taking using Readwise and Notion, two of my favorite apps out there. But first, let's have a look at what I mean by automating your note taking. If you're like me, I like taking a lot of notes from every single book or article that I read, just because I do a lot of research and it helps me with everything that I do for work, for my investments, for my health, etc., etc. There's a couple of steps involved in that note taking process, right? The first one will be keeping all my notes organized, and then secondly, sending them to Notion where I can and highlight them, etc., etc. In that way, I can navigate them and use them when I need to, and I can just link them across to different pages and all the different books and all the notes, and then create a body of research that I can then build something from. There's a couple of ways in which you can use Readwise in order to automate that process. You can do so from using any of the, well, not any, but a bunch of different reading apps, including Kindle, which is the one we're going to focus on for this video, as well as you can simply take photos using the OCR feature from Readwise. You'll need the app in your phone. You can take photos of your books with the app and then simply highlight in the book what it is that you want to send to, in this case, Notion. You can also use Evernote. You can use different tools, but as I said in this video, we're going to be focusing on Notion. For you to get the Readwise app, all you have to do is go to readwise.io and download it on your phone, or simply click here on Readwise and you can get started and open an account for free. Now, first, let's have a look at all the places where you can import your highlights from. So as you can see here, there's Instapaper, there's your physical, physical books, there's Pocket, there's a web highlighter, they've got their own reader app, which is similar to Instapaper, but I think a lot better. Apple Books, etc., etc. All you have to do is, once you log into Readwise, go to Connect and Sync and go to Import Highlights, right? So every single highlight from any of these sources you can then send to Readwise, and then we can go to Export Highlights and set it up so that we can export these same highlights into any of these apps. You can see there's a lot of them here, right? Including the most popular note-taking apps, which are Notion, Evernote, Obsidian, and Roam. There's a fair few of these. Later in the video, I will be showing you how to connect this from scratch, so no need to worry about that for the time being. Now let's have a look at what happens once we have successfully connected Readwise and Notion. So you'll get a page like this, and all your books in, well, depending on which source you use, which in this case will be Kindle, as I mentioned at the start of the video, will appear here. You get the icon and the background image, which doesn't look great, but whatever. It's good enough, I think, for what we want. And you'll get all these first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 properties automatically created in the table. In this case, you see that the URL is empty because this one I've been doing manually because there's no Kindle version of this book, or maybe there is, but I couldn't find it. Either way, so you can see here how I've connected all the different databases in my Notion to this book, right? And I've got a bunch of different courses that I've been doing on Linux and operational security. And you can see here that I've got a bunch of different highlights that I've sent, or that have been sent automatically to this page, which saves me a lot of time when it comes to transcribing my notes manually. Now in here, once I'm here, I can start highlighting and using any of the methods from Building a Second Brain, which is, by the way, one of my favorite courses of all times. So if you haven't done it, do check it out and have a look at it, by Tiago Forte. The other really cool thing I can do, and this is where it gets super interesting, I think, is that I can use Notion's AI feature to then start coming up with summaries of information that I need or that I would like to get from all these highlights. So I can then find all these options, right? I can ask it to summarize it for me, find action items, translate it to a different language, explain it, etc., etc. I'm not going to go through every single one of these because it really gives you pretty much an endless stream of possibilities. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it to give me a summary of all the tools. Summarize all tools in this book. It's pretty amazing. So now I've got a list, right? I've got a list of all the tools that are mentioned in here. So instead of me having to go through the whole thing and checking one by one, I've got the list here, which is pretty damn cool. Now, there's another way of doing that, which is more automated, which is by creating a property. So let's first start with this one. So I want an AI summary, and we're going to simply click on this, and we'll give it a second. Cool. There we go. So that's the summary of the book. Now let's say that I wanted some key information, and now it's going to ask me for what key information do I want to extract. And I want to say here again, list of tools mentioned. We'll say try. There we go. And then save changes. Cool. So now I've got all the same as we had here, right? A list, but the difference is that this is going to be automated. And let's then use the last one. And let's say that I wanted to create a summary in Spanish. So create a summary in Spanish. We'll give it a minute, and here we go. It creates a summary of the book in Spanish. And again, this is just an example, just trying to show you that you can automate all the summarization, key information, etc., etc. Let's say that I wanted to do something different here. Key action items in bullet points. Great. And now we save the changes and auto update on page edits. So again, as soon as I upload a new highlight, then it will update we'll change the name of this, my action items. And guys, no joke, this saves me about 5 to 8 hours every week. Me and my virtual assistants. It frees up so much of my time by just having all these processes automated using these apps. Right, so let's start importing your highlights from your Kindle into Readwise. So the first thing you need to do is go to readwise.io, and you need to open an account. So once you've opened an account, you go to connect and sync, and we go here to import highlights. And we're going to connect your Kindle, which I've already got connected here. So you can find here from a bunch of different options. You got Apple Books, Medium. So you can import from a lot of sources. I've got connected here Kindle, Twitter, and then my web highlighter, so that when I'm reading an article online, I'll show you how that works. Let's just find any article here that could be interesting. So we're here, and all I have to do here in order to highlight this is select it, right click, and then save highlight to Readwise. I'm not going to save this one, but I'll show you what it looks like once you save it. Once you save it, it'll appear here where it says articles. It will show you a little icon here. It'll give you here the link of the page, the actual website, And here's all the metadata. Here's a URL, full title, author, last highlighter, etc., and it'll show you your highlighting here. Okay. So let's close this and back to connecting your Kindle. So once you've connected it, you go here to sync now. And my Kindle is already connected to Readwise, right? In your case, it will prompt you to put your username and password to connect to your Amazon account, which is linked to your Kindle account, and that will give Readwise access and authorize Readwise to take all the data, as in all the highlights, from your Kindle into Readwise. Then you'll see the screen that you just saw, and then it'll be a message saying, "Don, you have now X amount of highlights in total." Cool. So that brings all the highlights from your Kindle into Readwise. Now we want to send them from Readwise out into your Notion database, which we're going to do in the next video. All right, guys, now for the last step, we're going to export our highlights from Readwise into Notion so that we end up with something like this or like this. Okay, so we're going to go to connect and sync, or once you go into your Readwise, you can select from here or here. We're going to go to export. And again, you have here a bunch of different options. You can send it to Notion, Evernote, Obsidian, Roam, Mailbrew, or export it to a CSV file or Markdown type of file. We're going to use Notion. We're going to go and select configure or connect in your case, and then you're going to get all these options here. You can select here the Notion workspace where you want to send it to, which means what you selected here. So this is your workspace. See how it says family? It says family here. We're going to say export automatically because we just want it to update automatically all the time. Include highlight locations, so we get the page where the highlight is. We're going to use compact layout, so it separates everything in paragraphs. And I don't want to use my daily reviews, and I don't want to select the items because then that means it would be manually. Every time I would have to be done manually every time I want to do it. So pretty simple. You can go through these, in your own time and explore them if you want, but that's the setup that I like using. And we're going to go to start export to family. And we're going to give it a few minutes. In this case, there's no highlights. That's it for this video, everyone. I hope you liked it. I hope you find this useful, and I hope I can save you a few hours every week by implementing this workflow. If you like this video, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more free videos on how to grow your business by 30% every year.